My Gavan and Melonine, and well met indeed. I'm Arachir Galadirthan, and welcome back to Divide and Conquer as we play anew as the Veil of the Anduin in this version 5 working build. Now, Anduin has been chosen because they are the first of the revamped Wildmen factions to have their revamp completed. So the Anduin are good to go. But do note, this is on a version of this mod which you cannot play yet. This is recorded on the 29th of September 2020, and as of this point, you can't play this version yet. So don't ask how you download it. Secondly, there will of course be the odd little thing that we'll come across, the odd little bug or thing that needs to be changed or text missing or something like that. This is a working build, of course, but the Anduin are at a point where all of the core work is completed. And to be honest, I think actually all of the work is completed, but we might run into something. This video series will replace Eredluin. So Eredluin, I'm afraid, has gone out in a fizzle, but I don't think many people will be disappointed in that. We did see much of Eredluin's roster, and the Beleriand Honor Guard unit, which I had hoped to fight with before we ended. In that version of the game, they were a pike unit, whereas in the version of the game you're going to play, they have since been changed completely. Their visuals are different, their weapon style is different. And so I'm not overly concerned that you didn't see them fight, because they won't even look like that in your own games anyway. And to be honest, from my own mentality, I was ready for a new campaign, and I'm eager to dive in as the Anduin. So let's go about it. This is the start of the game for the Anduin. We've got Roscabel as our most southerly settlement, which is all the ways down there, as you can see, a nice little elven-inspired settlement. Dwinberg, a castle in the centre of our land, and then we have Fenholm, a small little village where the Sturs reside and where we get our access to them. Bjorn's Halls is our capital and is a custom settlement, and it looks very much like it does there actually on the campaign map. That's its battle map, where we find Lord Bjorn. Beorn. He's our faction leader, and he has skin changes as his bodyguard, a formidable unit. Away to the west we have Meithelberg, which doesn't like us very much, but we can turn the tax rate down to solve that. And then finally in the north, quite out on a limb really, we have the Castle of Framsberg. And castle is indeed the right word for that, is what it is, the middle tier of the 3 available castles. Now, in very, very brief, before we dive in properly, the change to the Anduin is as follows. The first point is that the Anduin now has a 3-tier barracks system, or a 3-choice barracks system. Now, unfortunately, the way that they display might cause a lot of confusion, but essentially you need to choose which set of units you're going to train from any one settlement. So Bjorn's Halls has the Bjorning Camp built, which means I can then get a Bjorning Barracks, and that is it. If we go up to Framsberg, you will see that Framsberg has an Aethead Stables, and which is that one there, or an Aethead Camp, sorry, and the only thing I can build after that is the Aethead Stables. And then lastly, the Woodmen, I believe, are in Leofeld. No, they're in Dwinberg. And so the same thing in Dwinberg here. We've got a Woodman camp, and we can then upgrade that to a Woodman range, but that is it. The muster ground is available for everyone, and it gives you these 2 trash units, the Valesmen and Vale Archers. And after that, each individual town must specialise in the units that they're going to train. But outside of that, the Anduin now have very, very few. I think they may only have 1 or 2 restricted units now, whereas before, like half of their roster was AOR, which wasn't ideal. The other change to the Anduin is they can now upgrade to cities, large cities and strongholds after they have freed up and secured the mountain passes. Now this is done, we need to actually write a little message to tell you this, I suppose. This is done through the mountain watchtower. So you build the mountain watchtower, and that will get you a certain number of points. There are 4 tiers of the mountain defences, although the hold, you don't need the hold, you need to upgrade in order to get that anyway. But the watchtower, the outpost and the keep, you need all 3 of those. You don't have to build all of them, you're just trying to get to a certain number. You can build them in 5 regions. They can be built in Fenholm, in Meithelberg, in Goblin Town, in Yolstone and in Framsberg. I think we might add Gundabad to that list as well in the future, but this is all for tinkering. And as I say, each individual tier of the building line gives you a set number of points. Now, I didn't write down what those points were, so I can't remember how many buildings we actually need. But you need to get to 100 points, and each tier of the building gives a certain number of points when it is built. So I should imagine this first tier probably gives 10, the next one probably gives 20 or 30, or I don't know, something along those lines. And then once you reach that 100 points, then it is essentially suggested that the passes into the Vale of the Anduin are secured. Trade and more importantly, people can then move between the Anduin, and it is from those people that we then learn much and it is at that point that you can then upgrade your cities. Because one of the biggest changes that needed to be done to the Wildmen is to give them a sense of progression. And so upgrading to cities and strongholds was the way to do that. Also, the roster has been completely revamped. Now, visually, they remain relatively similar. But there have been quite a few visual changes. But on the whole, it's not like a drastically new roster. But many of the unit types, what they did, or many new units have been introduced and old units have been reworked. So, there we are. That's the intro done. Let's actually play the game. Now, we need to decide, first things first, our victory conditions are 30 regions, Bjorn's Halls, Dol Guldur, Khazad-dûm West, Mount Gundabad, and defeat Dol Guldur, Moria, and Gundabad, which is fine. We probably won't bother with the 30 regions, but I will try and defeat all 3 of those to win the campaign. But I doubt we'd go for the 30 regions. We hold 7 at the moment. I mean, 23 more regions. I mean, maybe we might get close. Of course, then you need to decide at the start what you are going to do. Goblin Town at the moment is not held by the goblins, but it will be when I click End Turn. Gundabad, of course, will also expand when I click End Turn. They'll take Dane's Halls and they'll take Yulstone almost certainly. And Dol Guldur get a few more regions in and around the forest, so we also have Dol Guldur to watch out for. I don't think Moria will likely attack us, but I could very well be wrong in that regard. I've not played as Anduin in this new version, and I've not played as Anduin with the barracks event removed either. We don't make very much money at the start of the game, so I think our safest location is Leotholt. It is far from any front line really, and even when Dol Guldur get many of the paths into the forest, it still is relatively protected. But I think Bjorn's Halls is probably actually the safest location. It's got at least one region from either allies or rebels between it and any enemy, so this is where we should focus our economy. Because there isn't really, with the way that the Anduin's recruitment system now works, there isn't really a specific location which is the best place for military. You still want to focus military in castles because they train units quicker, but there isn't, like, your capital doesn't assist you all that much when you're playing as the Wildman, because until we get those mountain passes upgraded, we only get up to large town tier, which Bjorn's Halls already starts as, and Meithelberg is on the way to, although it's going to take forever. But let's pop an economic building down in Bjorn's Halls, and I'm thinking the apiary, to be honest. 150 flat income, trade bonus, culture bonus, and population growth, which will help because when we do come to the point where we can upgrade Bjorn's Halls, that is many, many people away. So let's build an apiary here. Leotholt is another one I think we want to focus economically on, and my gut, to be honest, tells me that we should go for dirt paths, because then we can at least get into the city easier. But then this actually probably will be on the front lines, but nowhere near as bad as Meithelberg and Framsberg. So those two are going to have to be defensive, I think. So Leotholt, if you can go for... We won't bother with carpenters' huts for now, we just need the buildings. Now, Dwinberg should be a military-focused location, and as I say, it already starts off with a woodman camp, which gives us woodman warriors and woodman hunters. Which are these two? Woodmen, warriors and hunters there. The woodsmen are all about ambushing, hiding anywhere, sort of skirmish type infantry. The Bjornings are all about heavy hitting, either aggressive or defensive, but whether aggressive or defensive, they're good at it. They're like strong, capable warriors. And of course the Earthherd are cavalry. So they do get a couple of ground infantry in the second tier of their barracks, actually, which I can show you because the barracks event isn't a thing anymore. So in the Earthherd stables, you get the horsemen, you get cavalry, you get archers. Oh no, indeed, they have been completely reworked to an entirely cavalry-based nation. Oh, that's good. I was sure they kept one ground unit, but no, they don't. Anyway, back to Dwinberg. Dwinberg is going to be attacked, but it can get an apiary, and that's only 3 turns. I wonder if it's worthwhile just getting one of those in first, because you're going to need growth as well. So yeah, we'll go for an apiary now. Now, to get the upgraded tier of the barracks, we need an Elder's Hall, and an Elder's Hall is part of your town hall line, or castle hall. It's the third tier, and we don't even have the first tier. So it's a long way before we get the second tier of woodman units from here. So for now, we'll start with the apiary. Phenom is only a little tiny village, and you definitely need to grow. So again, an apiary will be most welcome. Meithelberg. Now, I'd be tempted in Meithelberg to get the watchtowers. You get an increase in tradable goods, and it pays for itself in 20 turns. It's only 1,000 gold coins, and it gives us our first 10 points. But then the apiary is considerably better again, actually. No, we're going to get them in basically every region. You can only get apiaries where there actually are the honey resource, which looks like... I can't remember which one it is. I think it's that one. Yes, it is. It's that one, which has all the small little beehives in lines going down it. So if those resources do exist in other regions around the world, and if you do bump into them, you can get apiaries there as well. But the Wildmen, Anduin, Dun, and Enadwaith each have their own unique economic building, and it's a cool little feature, to be honest. It's amazing how one building can separate a faction so massively. Lastly, I'm thinking possibly mines, but they only actually give 185 coins for 4,500 cost. That's so much. You can get your mountain watchtowers as well, and they're slightly cheaper here because... I have absolutely no idea. Gleowine must be dropping the cost of buildings down, because we don't have any building that actually drops the cost of buildings, and they're not cheaper in castles. I can tell you that for a fact. So I think that must be Gleowine's influence. But this place will be the brunt of Gundabad's attacks, I think. So what we might want to do here is ready this as a military location, and the only thing really we can do is get the Baluster Maker. Again, to get the upgrade of our barracks, the stables, we just need the Elder Hall. It's the same for all three. Yeah, we're 2 away from that in this instance. So we could try and go for that, but that is quite a long way off. Or we could get the militia garrison. I'd love for this to be able to get growth. We need to make... that's something that I definitely want to do, is make sure that every castle building has a way of getting some sort of growth. I don't want to carpet it up. Leather Tanner does actually kind of assist us. I think first things first, we would actually just line up troops. Let's make sure we get that in. And then I think probably a Moot Hall is best, actually, because it increases the recruitment and increases the free upkeep, which are all things we'd want to do there. Nothing is free in Mythelberg. That's disappointing. Bjorn's Halls, you don't need a garrison of that size, and you do get Bjorning warriors already. So if I can take your 2 Bjornings... the question is, why is Beorn not free? Because you can get the skin changes from the Stone Circle. Oh, is it because skin changes are cheaper than them? They must be. That must be the reason. Oh, we can have a look. Yeah, their upkeep is considerably less. That's rare, isn't it? Very rare. For those of you who are lamenting that Radagast is not a general, Radagast will unlikely ever be a general. It has been thrown around the mod team so many times, but the overwhelming opinion has always been that he should stay a diplomat and he should not be a general for Anduin, and so that is how it is going to stay. Speaking of diplomats though, what have we got? We're allied to the dwarves of Khazad-dûm and we're at war with Dol Guldur and Gundabad, but not Moria yet. But we're also not yet allied to the elves, so let's send him over there and get that one banked. And we could really do with towers. What is this vision? Bloody woodsman. Erecting a watchtower. It's because they're not a unified sort of military nation, so their forces are all over the place. We don't really want to just give up Roscovel without a fight, so if we take the woodsman units south, get them out. Athanagild, you can pop out and give me some towers. Now remember, in this, or not remember, but you may not know, but in this iteration, the Anduin were gifted a free boat. And this fellow here, he will never fight anyone, he'll never do anything other than act as a ferry for you. It was Hummingbird's idea, and it has been met with resounding success, and the beta testers have always praised it. So, I mean, you might get really unlucky, and the AI might train a mercenary cog, although I don't think they can, actually, if memory serves. Orders. No, I don't think they can. So this will be the only boat likely to be on the Anduin River forever, and it's yours. So you can use it to ferry troops up and down the river. Now, Mythelberg will also certainly be attacked, but we'll worry about moving... Well, no, you might as well move those straight away, actually. As you wish. There are, of course, certain crossing points at the river. There's one, obviously, at the Carrock. I think the next one is that bridge up there, and then there is one where the forts are. The forts always denote river crossings. So at each fort... there's crossings. Although you can't see the one down here, but he's about to bump into a fort. My lord. Leothop doesn't like us. There's very low population in a lot of these towns. Your orders, my lord. Disappointing. Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, for goodness sake. Why are there 3 Camul Shadow Rangers in the forest here? We are disgraced. I don't think we'll be giving that one a go anytime soon. Fastred comes with Greenwood Foresters, which are one of our finest archers, but he's no match for 3 units of Camul Shadow Rangers. That would be suicide. But we'll figure out something to do. But first of all, we can then now finally, after 15 minutes, end the So the Anduin do play a lot more like a traditional Northman faction now. And by Northman, I mean Rohan, Dale, Dorwinian, and Angmar, to be honest. They're all nations who don't have this strength, skill, and quality of the Sons of Numenor or the Elves or the Dwarves, but they are, militarily speaking, better than the actual Wildmen and, generally speaking, most of the Orcs. So the Anduin are more Northmen now, and their cavalry is really very good and reliable.
Your order.
Obviously,
I shall continue
the
tomorrow.
Rohirrim used to be the Eotheod. And so just because some of their people left and went south, that's no reason to suggest that these people then suddenly forgot how to command cavalry. So they're still powerful in their own way. But they're obviously not as good as Rohan, that has to be said, but they are still at least good cavalrymen. Now, our southern and western border down here is all quite safe, because this obviously is Khazad-dûm, and we're allied to them, and the crossing at Zagkala was shut. So Goblin Town is the way into the Vale, so it is almost worthwhile ensuring our first port of call is to shut that down. Also because, of course, then the Moria, in order to get back and support here, they've got to go through Imladris or all the way around, which gives you plenty of time. So I think our first port of call will be to group an army up and send it out towards Goblin Town, to take Goblin Town first. So, Fastra, don't worry about building towers. Get yourself up to Meithelberg. Ideally, I'd like to send Bjorn in as the army that leads that. So I'm wondering if maybe swapping Grimbjorn.
Yes, my lord.
So if Bjorn goes to Meithelberg and Grimbjorn comes back to Bjorn's halls, Fastred will go with him. Framsberg, I'm not sure that we can... a couple of your cavalry units would be useful, actually. So take a couple of them. And then the army here at Phenom, you have no need to sit in this town at all. And you're not free... No one here is free upkeep, so what kind of 90 upkeep? We'll take all of them.
Yes, my lord.
Although Fulcrid will have the same upkeep, and he's a general, so we'll leave Fulcrid, actually. He at least boosts the city a little bit, so we might as well leave him there.
Yes, my lord.
We don't have any money anymore, so... But as I say, we can't abandon the south, so a small army must gather here. I'm tempted to put a Thanagild in there with them as well, and Dwimberg leave it on its own. I think that probably will be the best bet. Also, taking Goblin Town will give us a lot of money. Now, quite a few of our beta testers have played as Anduin in this newest format of the Anduin, and each of them has come back with different reports in terms of the difficulty. On the one hand, we've had a couple of people saying this campaign is now really very easy, but it depends what you do first. We've had other people saying that no matter what they did, it was a challenge. And I, at the moment, don't really know which one to follow or which one to believe. But I can't quite remember what they actually said about who we should attack first. Can't remember if it was Dol Guldur or Gundabad. Someone said that either rushing Dol Guldur or rushing Gundabad makes the campaign really easy. And I can't remember which one it was. But in any event, I'm not going to rush either. I'm going to go for Goblin Town, and that should hopefully be the best way. Go on. Oh, come on, Kelly.
Another proposition for us then?
And they're not interested, of
This
course.
meeting was disappointing.
Alright, we'll get him on the next time. He didn't take a Rui, I just noticed. We could have popped down and grabbed that. It's disappointing that a lot of our units don't start with free upkeep. Oh, we're hemorrhaging money now. We're going to have to absolutely take Goblin Town. It's all or nothing now. We can't afford to not take it, to be honest. Have we got a fort around here? Oh, there's that one there.
Yes.
Oh, but our army's only 2 towns away. Ah, but there we go, look. Chuck you lot in that fort. That at least lessens the damage a bit. But that's the only fort that we can put troops in. We just have to hope Dol Guldur don't come at us too quickly. And Magor and Nathanagild are going to be right up against it. And I would have loved to have built a tower there, and I've not done that. It's interesting that Gundabad don't get a Yulstone in the turn 1 auto expansion. I don't know if you noticed that Scather's Gap only last turn it turns to Gundabad colours. So they didn't get it straight away. They had to actually go out and find it and fight it. Last time I played as the Anduin, which I have done on the channel before, and the last time I played, Gleowine had Eotheod cavalry as his bodyguard, and he was really powerful. And I remember us taking Gundabad and calling it Mount Gleowine, if memory serves, because he basically saved our campaign. Oh, there's a fort right there. Look at that. Moron. Right, you go in that one.
Victory in your name, your orders, my lord.
Fast trade is now crossing the river. You guys are a turn away as well, though, so we'll keep you in that fort as well. Oh, look, there we are. I think most of our apiaries must have just built. Yes, because we are now making money. That's good. Crime net. What on earth is that?
Have a taste of my blade.
Oh, wow. There's just no way that we're going to be able to hold that army off. Oh, dear, oh, dear. But I really want Goblin down. I know that they have the Greyland Vales as well. That's really annoying. But they might just be passing through.
Yes.
On the off chance that they are, let's get Gleowine out. We don't want to lose him in a small battle like that. And we'll leave behind the Vale. If we lose Framsburg, we'll be back to get it. But we'll lose a few buildings when we lose it. But Goblin Town is such a pretty prize. We've got to push for Goblin Town, I think. Oh, we can get those trade rights now.
You have a proposition for us?
There we go.
You have another worthy proposal then. This proposal
He just doesn't want the alliance. But we're allied to your allies and we're at war with your enemies. Like, what possible reason? Oh, at least they gave us some money.
Yes,
We've got trade routes to Khazad-dûm. Let's head down to Rohan and rekindle old ties. Get them on our side.
As you wish.
And there we are. Something that people ask for an awful lot for nations like the Anduin and Rohan. Because, of course, they have a shared ancestry. People always say, oh, you should be able to train some Rohirrim units if you take Rohirrim lands as the Anduin, because you've freed people that were once your people. And that should be reflected. But the problem with shipping nations' units out to other factions is it dilutes that nation itself. And this is something you can see, and I've seen lots of people suggest in Warhammer 2, actually. Because as I understand it, if you play as Alarielle the Radiant, she gets a lot of the Wood Elf units that are worth training. And so there's a suggestion that if you want to play as the Wood Elves, just play as the High Elves as Alarielle, because you don't get all the crap features of the Wood Elf faction, but you get a lot of their units. And so it's a similar sort of thing. We don't want to dilute certain nations down by shipping their units out to other nations, lest it risk those nations becoming just boring, basically.
Yes, my lord. Orders.
Right, there is Goblin Town, but you guys can only get to Meithelberg. So can Fastrid.
Yes.
Gleowine can join you, and I'll take all 4 of them. And then I think we've got them shut out. Now, if they go for Meithelberg, we can pull back, and if they don't, we'll hit Goblin Town. Framsburg was not attacked, which is brilliant, but as you all saw, of course, Chieftain Lagaran of the Neck has come through.
I'm gonna stick you.
And he's going to fight us. And I was... Oh, look, and they're coming as well. Can we actually make it back in a turn? Oh, God, no, we can't. Right, so we're going to lose Dwinberg immediately, because the Dogaldor has walked around the obvious attack spot and hit us further around. You'll note Roscobel now starts the game as a large town as well. It's not a village anymore, which it was in many iterations of the mod. But I'd rather hold Dwinberg than Roscobel, if I'm honest. And we can't have Dogaldor attacking us from behind.
We have marched our limit.
So the army's going to have to push out there.
Orders.
We can attack on the next turn, but I think we're going to lose it.
Raise our banners.
Your orders. Yes. Without
So
question.
many
As you
blockages on the way south there. I'm interested to see what Moria are going to do. Moria as an Anduin player should be very, very easy to shut down. Once we've got Goblin Town, Moria have very little chance of getting to us and fighting us in any other way. Oh, that's not even worth fighting, is it? They're just going to die. But then we can siege them now, which gives us a bit of an upper hand. I just always hate losing my provinces. It really irks me. Oh, and there's the rest of Dogaldor's army. I should say we are, of course, playing on very hard, because unlike later games, it doesn't assist the AI with cheats or anything like that. It only helps you. So you get more money if you play on a lower difficulty. The AI doesn't benefit from your difficulty choice.
Yes, my lord.
So it's always worthwhile going on the lowest ones. Now, I don't think that Goblin army is going to attack Meithelberg. So what we'll do is hit Goblin Town.
To battle.
And then we're going to gamble that they are going to leave us be and send the full army out.
We're combining forces. We shall engage.
Goblin Town doesn't actually have a... Oh, no, I think it had a gate added, didn't it? But I don't think they'll bother us.
My lord. To battle, lads.
No, we only need one.
To assault the walls.
It's only a Wildman
We
keep.
lay
They're not very good.
siege.
Chieftain Lagaran has Castellans of Dol Guldur, so he's not a strong mounted unit. And hopefully, Thanagild and Magor, with their skin changes, will be able to deal with him. That 25 attack. If we can flank him and get him sandwiched between the two of them, I feel confident that we can take him down.
What is it you wish to discuss?
Why does no one like trade rights?
Another proposition for us then?
Can you give me some money for my trade rights? I know it's sort of cheesy and lots of people don't like doing this, but
Acceptable, an honour and a pleasure. Farewell.
it's very helpful. And this campaign so far is looking like it might be harder. The problem, of course, is that, or not the problem, it's something we do on purpose, but amongst our beta testers, some of them are better than others. And so taking reports from the testers, from certain people, you know that they're going to min-max the game, they're going to rush, they're going to do everything they can to make it easy. Or not necessarily do everything they can to make it easy, but they're going to play to the peak of their possible ability. And in those instances, then the reports that they give are a little skewed, if I am being honest. Because the one thing that we've always said about Divide and Conquer, and the one thing without implementing really horrible, cheesy strategies... Oh, I renamed these as well now. They're called Black Pit Crossbows and not Heavy Goblins anymore. Divide and Conquer is, generally speaking, very easy if you rush your nearest neighbour. Now, as the Anduin, we have 3 nearest neighbours, so who do you rush? But if you don't turtle in any way, you pull together all your starting forces, and at turn 1 or 2, you immediately hit someone, then you will wipe them out very early, and you will sap a large chunk of the challenge of the game. And we can't really balance that without putting in horrible, cheesy things, like giving the AI one-off armies to use that spawn out of nowhere and things like that. And we don't want to do that. So rushing, I mean, particularly as the Anduin, I think rushing, say, Gundabad out of the game probably does make it really easy, because then you let Dol Guldur take Roscabel or whatever, but soon enough they'll tie themselves up with the elves. And then you can just remove Gundabad completely. And as we've seen, we don't even actually start at war with Moria. So I've probably just made the game harder for myself. But that's fine. We're doing it as a test. Now, we were attacked by the reinforcements, but the city we were sieging to our left. So I think they might be coming in from that corner or this side, which is disappointing because this hill is perfect to defend against them. And we, unfortunately, are sandwiched up in the mountains where we can't really do anything. We don't actually want to be here. This is a horrible place. We'll just get shot to death. We've got a lot of ranged units. Airtheod horsemen are javelins. Store sheriffs are basically javelins, although they're actually stones, of course. And then we've got 3 Vale archers and 2 woodman hunters. Fastrid, of course, is greenwood foresters, and Gleowine is mounted cavalry archers. But I think possibly going here is still our best bet. And then if they're coming in that corner, we can pull back to like this section here with the mountain on the right. But then they get that hill there. This is such a horrible battle, man. I'm not pleased with this. What about our far right-hand side? No, that is entirely mountains, isn't it? At least it gives us a nice view of the battlefield from up here, though. We can see the area in which the enemy will meet their demise. Although they do have 2 units of trolls, and I have no idea what we're going to do about them as the Anduin. Oh, javelin. Maybe we can harass them with javelin troops. Oh, that's going to ask so much of me that I'm not sure I'm able to give. But that is going to be our best bet. So all 3 of you are going to have to go out and put the trolls down where possible. Oh, which is going to be hard because we can't even maneuver in this place. And then I think... but if they come in on that side, they've got completely on the flank of us. How well can we get up on the mountain side here? Not well at all. Horrible, horrible, horrible position. You don't want to fight down in the dell. Definitely not. Right, this is just the lesser of all the evils. So this is where we're going to have to go, and we'll fiddle with our units and when we know where the enemy is. Can't get them anywhere around there. Oh, also, there's something that I just reminded of by listening to them there. The Anduin also have had their voices redone, if memory serves. Now, all the Wildmen, I think, had their voices redone at a much higher quality, so that's also a good feature now. This is just such a horrible, horrible place. If they aren't coming in from that corner, then going here in this corner would actually be the best thing to do. But if they do come in from that corner, then we are scuppered. But I think it might actually be better to position ourselves as though we're going to move up to that corner and bank on them coming in on the side. Because we could always move over there as well. Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. So don't fire at will in case they start coming in. Don't fire at will. Stand on top of each other. Although standing them all on top of each other always makes them sort of wig out. They don't really know what to do when they do that. We'll have a look at the roster properly as well once we're all in our positions.
The enemy are bringing in reinforcements.
Bugger, they're coming in that corner. Right, we're going to run over here then. So you two, nice defensive line unit, come and hold there. And then you three, we've got Bjorn himself on the field today, which is good. Whilst I set up, something I can tell you, it's requested all the time, is Hummingbird has actually looked into giving the Anduin an actual bear unit. So a unit that is just bears, basically. I can't describe it in any other way. They don't have a rider, they are just feral bears that fight for the Anduin. But owing to various complications, they have as yet never worked in Divide and Conquer, and so the project had to be sort of abandoned. And it didn't get off the ground. But it has been something that we've looked into. We've just not been able to actually do anything with it. Let's move the stores over there. Gleerwine, you can also move out and be ready to help. And let's turn all of you back on. Let's make sure we're all set and ready to go. Everyone is going to run as well. And then that just leaves... Oh, did I actually move Fastrid? No, I didn't. Can you stand in that gap there? No, you can't. Can you stand in that gap there? I don't really want you in that gap, though. I'd much rather you go somewhere like that. Come a bit further down. Yeah, go there. And then that just leaves the Javelin Cavalry to deal with the Trolls. Oh, they're facing completely the wrong direction. That at least helps us out a bit. And Gleerwine, you come down the hill here. All right. Into positions, everyone. Go, 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 go. Now, just while the army's running around, let's just have a look at our fantastic new units. So, we've got some units here. Bjorning Spearmen. They are much better than Valesmen, which fortunately we don't have any of. They are a really good early tier dependable spear unit. 14 total defense, that's fantastic. And they are supported by Bjorning Axemen, who were before the sort of standard Bjorning Berserker style unit. And they have a high attack of 7 and a high charge of 6, effective against armor, and they frighten the enemy, which is really helpful. A good defense for a Berserker unit as well, but of course nowhere near as good as a Spearman. But Spearmen in Medieval 2 specifically, not just Divide and Conquer, but Medieval 2. Spearmen are fantastic at holding the line, but they're generally pretty useless at actually killing anything. Killing is not their forte, but holding the line very much is. And so that's what you will most likely use them for. If you could actually just plug that gap. Right, and how are we all doing over here? Let's swing the Jav Cav round. I will put you on skirmish mode. But what I really, 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 really want is all three of you to throw your javelins at those trolls. At the trolls. Do it at the trolls. Do it at the trolls. Right, and then we can enable skirmish mode. I think they are now actually hitting the trolls. Fantastic. A javelin is a good counter to a troll because of their large hitboxes. It means even if your units are relatively inaccurate, it doesn't matter too much. And then we've got Gleerwine, who's got those trolls coming after him. Run, 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 run. We're almost out of javelins already anyway. Oh, come on. Actually run. We're just going to have to hope that our line up there holds, to be honest. Because we can't do out about that. Oh, although the stores, you can definitely move around. If there's anything you can throw your... What unit is that? Oh, that's Bjorn. Oh, the Warg Riders have fled. They seem to be moving to assist these guys down here. Right, all of our javelins have thrown. We appear to have killed one troll. So, stores. You're the best unit to tie up those trolls with. So come and form a nice wide line. I'm going to use them as arrow fodder, sadly. Who's killing us? What is shooting at us over here? Otherwise, though, that northern army has just been decimated. They're going to go down. Right, cavalry, bring the trolls into the line of the stores. Gleerwine, just keep sort of running away. Keep people. Look how happy he looks. He's such a cheery fellow. Come on, move. Throw your stones, you stupid short people. Right, now is the time to charge the cavalry in. I think that cavalry unit has been trapped by the trolls. Yes. The lines of the air there.
The enemy general lies dead.
Oh, fantastic. Dead in the first charge. Right, how are we all doing over there? The crossbows should hopefully be being hit now. If you can all target them. Those lines will all hold. Oh, we need to get Bjorn involved. Cavalry, cavalry, cavalry. I go for those orc fighters. Cavalry here, pull through, pull across. Clearwine, why have you taken losses? Who's shooting back at you? Oh, Black Pit crossbows. Charge them and down.
The enemy are badly bloodied. They have lost half their men.
Cut around. You'll note that not all of the, well, in fact, none of the other battle abilities have yet had the change whereby it tells you what they do in the battle. That is something that I didn't do for the Anduin, but partly also because we plan to actually revamp the battle abilities so that you won't have things like that where Boromir is shouting for the when you play as the Anduin. Come on, hit those trolls. And then you guys hit that goblin infantry. I've got a third one of these. Oh, I forgot about them and they're dead. Oh well. Do what must be done. Archers, you can now cease and desist, and if you would, just come and form a nice long line across the top there. We'll group you all up into one large group and get you to come across the top. How are those trolls doing? Bjorn must be smashing those trolls, surely. Trolls versus skin changers is a terrible matchup because the skin changers do such high damage that the trolls will just melt away as they are doing. They're down to 2 already. That one's gone. There's only 1 left. So at least Bjorn's not going to die today. So all of those of you, the cynics amongst you, tell me I'm killing off my custom generals too quickly. At least Bjorn's not going to go down today. Moria, of course, have not yet been changed. So this is still the old Horde Moria, which is why this battle is quite simple in truth. And we haven't even actually lost all that many stores either, really.
Only half the enemy force remains.
Most of the enemy army is routing almost as soon as we charge into them. I've always liked the design of the Aether. They are quite unique. Unique in as much as there isn't anyone else in the game that looks like them. Whereas the Bjorning units, for example, that design was shared with a couple of units from Dunland and Ennard Wythe. So it's a unit that you've seen before, even if you're not entirely certain where. Our archers are still firing. Gleerwine is also still firing. Oh, Goblin infantry is chasing him down now. So you run out over there. We did lose the other cavalry unit, but that's okay. Alright, I think we can speed this one up quite happily. We really don't want much getting away. To be honest, we don't want anything getting away, because then we'll take Goblin Town. So if we can kill as much as possible. But how many men have we lost? 28! That's fantastic! Moria is absolutely no match for our army. I think it is likely that the Anduin campaign is now slightly easier, because the Anduin units have been buffed, basically. They're much stronger than they were before, and they have a much more rounded roster now than they had before. You're cleaning up them, and then they're now running away. And that's basically everyone running away. 95%, oh, that's good. I think the only thing left then must surely be the trolls. Oh no, the trolls are dead. It's whoever's over here. Oh, Goblin Bodyguard. Oh, and there's an actual bodyguard. Alright, yeah, let's finish them off then. No. Got almost no stones thrown. The store sheriffs have like 50 missiles each.
How our cowardly foe runs. It's time to press the
But they hardly get a chance to use them. Yes.
Our foe is utterly
And we got the
vanquished.
general just at the end.
Let all who remember this
619.
day remember it as the day of our most glorious victory.
And the top spot goes to... He's already making his mark in the world. Oh no, beaten by 10 kills. Eotheod Horseman, 218. Eotheod Horseman, 210. And lastly, Eotheod Archers. Gleowine himself, 208 kills. The word Eotheod is such a mouthful. I used to call them Eothode, but it's just not pronounced that way. The accent on the E denotes that it is not a diphthong and it is an independent sound. So Aotheod. But it just makes such a mouthful when you're actually saying it out loud. It's one of those words that I would have loved Tolkien to have said. But then, as we've learnt, Tolkien often changed or not often, we have at least one example of Tolkien changing the correct pronunciation of one of his own words. And so, who knows how he would have pronounced Eotheod. But it is a right old mouthful. Now, if it didn't have the second accent and it was just Eothod, I think that would sound better. 3,736. Would they actually take that? Oh, they did. You absolute morons.
Glory, honor.
Right, exterminate everyone within there, of course. And then that Moria
My lord,
garrison will have just been pushed very far away. If we take a horse breeders guild, then we definitely want to turn this into an Eotheod recruitment centre because they're the only ones that get cavalry. I'm not sure we're really all that bothered about a horse breeders guild. It just speeds up the replenishment of cavalry, but it's going to be ages before we get cavalry here. And that's 1,500. Oh, sod it, what the hell. We rarely get guilds. Might as well take advantage of it. Right, excellent success, everyone. We've got now another region which we can build mountain watchtowers in, which closes us in on our cities and castles and whatnot. But primarily, we now need to swiftly turn this over to our culture. So Standing Stone's definitely going to be the first port of call. Now, in terms of who we're going to leave here, because... Oh, but then Gundabad ignored us, didn't they? Gundabad are at war with the dwarves. Oh, they're allied to... Oh, they're allied to the two of the nations I'm at war with. They're at war with Erebor, Eredluin, and me. I wonder if we could get our diplomat.
Yes, my lord.
Radagast. Radagast, you're an Istari. You're a man of the world. Oh, I'm cheap move diplomats. If you've never watched my channel before, I'm sure all of you have. But if you have never watched the channel before, I always cheap move diplomats. So if you dislike that, I apologise, but I'm not going to change. So it's not really an apology, is it? The diplomats I find really boring in Med 2, and every other game after this has always, like, literally the next game after this did away with diplomats, and it's now just a diplomacy menu. And coming back to Med 2, it's the only feature that I always get really annoyed by.
What lies do you bring us then?
No, they're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. They hate me more than anyone else. No, I will not accept this. Right, I don't think we need worry about Moria. I don't think they're going to actually bother with us. They've got bigger fish, or rather actually smaller fish to fry in the Dwarves of Khazad-dûm. They've got the elves in between us as well, and they fight the Dunedain. I can't imagine they're going to be coming and knocking on the doors of Goblin Town any time soon. So the question then becomes, do we move now north and hit Gundabad preemptively, or do we focus on the enemy who is already attacking one and will shortly be attacking two of our towns? My absolute gut tells me to go for Dol Guldur. Also because in Dol Guldur itself we get an Elven Archer unit, which is... I love towns that give me a unique unit. I'm all about that. Is there anything here we can't use, actually? Can we destroy anything, first of all? No, they're all useful. Goblin Caverns doesn't give us anything other than diplomats. I like those buildings. I like uniformity, so as we couldn't find a building like of this design that, or this design that matched a sort of monumental type building, I just went for the instead executive decision to just do a circle of the image. And so if you ever see that type of UI, you know it's a unique building. And I think that's the best way to go about it. I really can't stand it when mods have just hundreds of different types of UI and it just really doesn't fit. Even the Mountain Watchtower, which I did this very morning, I finished those this morning. The Mountain Watch chain doesn't really fit with the rest of the buildings, but we don't want to reuse UI. And I thought that was the lesser of all the evils. And it still kind of fits, but you can tell that they're Rohirrim buildings. I mean, that seems obvious. Right, well, we don't really need Oh, I just don't know what to do. We can't abandon Framsberg. It's a key location for us. But we should be trying to build some money. We should be trying to build some money. If we could just hammer some gold coins together, that'd be smashing. Grain exchange, that will do. Meithelberg, when we get a bit of money next time, you also go for a grain exchange. Framsberg, you can't. You're a castle because they don't get markets. Leotholt, you can have a grain exchange too. Phenom has already got one or can't get them just yet. Trade. Are they called trade or are they called markets? Marketplace. No, you need to be a town. Roads would be really useful there. I'm never going to get them for a long time, but we'll line them up. I think Magor is going to need support. We're going to have to focus on Dolgaldor. They're an immediate threat, but we can't ignore the north. I really don't want to lose Gleowine, so I'm going to send Gleowine and the Cav south.
Yes, my lord.
Oh, bugger, they did that thing where I shouldn't have grouped them. Shouldn't have manually merged them. So you guys can head off first because you're the quickest. So get south and join up with Magor. And then I think I will leave... No, that's so silly. I think I will leave Fastrid here. And then Beorn and a large chunk of units. What do we actually want to leave here? What's good against the goblins? We want the archers to stay... So let's select everything and then turn off what we're going to leave. So Fastrid's going to stay. He's going to keep the archers with him, particularly the 2 tracker units. And why don't you keep the 2 full Bjorning units? And then the rest can then ride north.
Making camp here.
Yes.
Oh, look, there's a little goblin army we've got to finish off first. So Bjorn, you go north. We can't ignore the Misty Mountains. They probably will send at least something back to deal with Goblin Town. But remember, in this version, you can't get through the Hidden Valley anymore. You've got to go around. And they'll be loath to do that because it brings them near to Imladris. They will actually do it, but I just don't think we'll see as much of Moria as we may have done in the past. But that is going to conclude episode number 1. Now, I will bank record the first 3 episodes back to back, so I won't see your comments on episode number 1, or 2, or indeed 3 until episode 4 releases. So I won't be able to talk about specific comments or answer any questions until episode 4. But please do list your comments and your thoughts on the Anduin for now. And I've enjoyed this 45 minutes, and I'm pleased to be playing as the Anduin. This is a theatre of Middle-earth that hasn't been on the channel very often. Eriador is almost always on the channel in one form or another, and then generally speaking, I think the south gets more. The game is sort of biased towards the south more so than the playthroughs, whereas this specific central area is rarely seen. So I'm pleased for that. But I do hope you've enjoyed it. I welcome your feedback, and until we speak again, Nevair Naden Perimad Melonin, and farewell.